Good morning, everybody. This is Chondra Rankin with Coffee with Chondra coming out of the Heartland, and I just wanted to say have a happy, great Monday today, beginning of the work week. Well, did everybody have a great weekend or what? I'm gonna scoot in here because I'm all covered in shadow. I had a very busy weekend. A couple of things that I did. I'm on the board of our state conference for church, and so I had to go to Waterloo and do an inspection. That's a quarterly inspection that we do at our parsonage. So I did that, and several others met us there. And another thing that happened was yesterday. Well, first of all, I went to church, and a couple of us pitched in because some of the main people that run things or, do announcements and things like that were not there. So everybody pitched in for that. And then a handful of us worked at my mom's house doing construction and cleaning. So I was actually going to do a different live this morning, but I started thinking about a different topic. Actually, I had one all written up, but started thinking of this other topic. And then I was listening to the second lesson for Napoleon Hill's Laws of Success, and that just tied right in with the idea that I was possibly going to do, so I thought, I'm just going to go with it. So that is it. Actually, the name of the second law is Principle of Organized Effort. Principle of Organized Effort. And it really just spoke to my whole weekend because it was people getting together in an organized way and working together for a common goal. So that spoke to me, and I thought, I'm just going to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. And before I get into that, the other part of my title is my first fan gift. So the other day, well, probably a couple weeks ago, I got a message from someone, and they said, do you like ground beans or whole beans for your coffee? I'm like, I like whole beans. And then they asked what kind of roast I liked, and I said typically dark. And so that person happened to be in Hawaii at the time. And because I was like, why do you want to know what kind of coffee I like? Well, he was in Hawaii, and so he said, well, I'm going to get you some coffee. I'm going to get you some Kona coffee. Well, he did, true to his word. This is backwards, I know, but it says, please give to Chondra, XO. And it is my Kona coffee. Look at that. I'm so excited. It is a medium roast whole bean. And I am so excited to try it. I'm going to try to tell you what... I can't read it here very well because of the lights in my eyes, but if you have not heard of it, it is one of the top coffees in the world. And I was so honored that he thought of me and brought this all the way back from Hawaii for me to drink. That is awesome! Thank you, Mike. You are so sweet and so thoughtful. Thank you very much. I just wanted to share that. So, back to the principle of organized effort. Napoleon Hill, as I've mentioned before, was way ahead of his time. He was in the early 1900s, and Andrew Carnegie commissioned him to do this 16 Laws of Success. And this is number 2. I'm listening to these on audiobook. They're each at least an hour long, so that's a lot of listening, but so much good information in that. Because of the time frame and the era that he lived in, he talks about Henry Ford quite a bit because he's very successful, and obviously in that time. One of the first stories he talks about in this section is Henry Ford and another man that were working at the same level in the same kind of job, and years later Henry Ford was obviously very successful, but this other man was still in the same job that he was in at the same rate of pay. And really, why was that? The one main difference is that Henry Ford recognized the benefit of organized effort. I mean, it's just everybody working together, which is such a simple concept. But sometimes we get in our own way. And I loved this story that he shared, so I'm going to share that too. It was a man with 7 sons that constantly fought and bickered, and they couldn't get anything done. And the man was really tired of it. And so he said, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story, or I'm going to give you, it was basically an object lesson. So he got his sons together and he said, I would like you to try to break this bundle of sticks that are all bundled together. Big bundle of sticks. I want you to break that in half. They're all tied together, acting as one. And all 7 sons tried to do it, and they couldn't do it. They could not break it in half. Then the man unraveled the bundle, and he gave each one of them 1 stick. He said, now I want you to break that in half. And they could easily do it. They would break it in half, and oh, well, that's not very difficult. And he said, see what it is to work by yourself versus be all in unity and bundled together. Someone can come along and break up your defenses or break up your goal if you're just working as individual units. But if you're united as a whole, no one can break you. I love that story. It's also evident in this working together. Have you ever seen a railroad bridge? Especially probably none exist anymore, but the old wooden ones you'll see in images or in old movies. And it's an amazing feat. I don't know how they did it back then, but they had all of these pieces of wood tied together to create one entire whole structure. And because one is relying on the other, you know, hundreds of tons of weight can go across that railroad bridge and it does not crumble or fall. That is the exact concept of the principle of organized effect. This is why unions formed. It's because individually people did not have a voice, and they decided that by getting together they would, as a collective whole, be much more effective in communicating their needs for safety and things like that when unions first began. The one main thing, though, and I'm not saying unions are good or bad, I'm just saying that's an example, but in order for this concept to be effective, they have to be led by an intelligent leader. That's the one thing. There has to be a source of intelligence there. Whether it's the design of the railroad bridge all put together, the leader for a union, that type of thing. There needs to be an intelligent leader. So I just thought that was really interesting. You know, many activities I did over the weekend were a group activity, all working together, because if you're working, one person does one thing, one person does another thing, you don't get as much done, and it's not as effective. It's just not as effective. In order to be able to be effective, you do need to know yourself. And one thing that I looked at recently was a character analysis. There's a test out there. I'll put a link in the comments. But there's a test out there that shows what color your personality is. And mine, see if you can guess what color mine is. See if you can guess. Because you have to know what your role is in that whole organizational unit. You have to know what that is. So in doing that, also, your objective has to be constructive. It should not be that you're getting together to harm something or someone else. Your main goal, get together, do something positive, constructive, and that's really the concept of this principle of organized effort by Napoleon Hill. And I also wanted to mention, in the training that I've been doing, there is an entire community to rely on. You're not doing it out there by yourself. You're not out there having to make the same mistakes everybody made before you, because that makes it so much more difficult and it takes so much longer to learn everything. Rely on other people in your community, and I mean that could be online, it could be physical, but rely on those people to help, because nothing's as effective if you just do it yourself. There's a whole community out there that you can draw from, and if somebody doesn't know how to do something, they'll know how to find it, a resource. So remember today, as you are going to work or working with your family or staying home, whatever, remember the benefit of organized effort. It's always easier to do things as a united front rather than everybody doing something individually. I'll give one more analogy as I am getting ready to sign off. If anyone has seen a symphony orchestra, I've played in a symphony orchestra both in school and professionally before. And it doesn't do anyone any good to just do your own thing. In fact, the whole thing falls apart. Everyone is reliant on each other and takes cues from each other. And in doing that, creates one entire, whole, beautiful piece of music. You should listen. If you haven't really listened to classical music, I'm not saying to change the genre you like to listen to, but it really is something that would be beneficial to listen to. So I'll put a link for that too. Just something maybe short, or there are all sorts of styles and everything you could hear. So think of your life being a symphony orchestra. You're all working together instead of each one working individually. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And again, thank you, Mike, for my coffee from Hawaii. That was so awesome. So thoughtful. All right, everybody have a great day. Like, comment, share if you appreciated the video or if you found some insight from it. Appreciate that. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.